Okay, we're live. I'm trying to get this new setup right in my home office here. I think that I could probably do a little bit better with so everything's backwards. Okay, I'll just stop holding my hands up awkwardly. Welcome to another episode of Ask a Clutter Boss. I am Jess Marcy. I'm your Clutter Boss for today. We have a lot of questions to get through, so I am going to dive right in. If you're here live, please say hello in the comments. If you have questions, you can go ahead and pop them into the comments or use the form, which many people have been using. So that is fantastic. We will make sure that the form gets posted in here also in the comment section. And so if I look over here, I'm on dual screen here and I'm looking at questions on one screen, live stream on the other screen. So when I look away, that is why. And okay. Are we ready to dive into today's decluttering questions? Give me a thumbs up if you are ready. Question number 1. Is it best to schedule one's decluttering in sections to declutter, or by the day, or by the room, or by the hour? That is a great question. How do we break up our decluttering? How do we schedule it? How do we get it done? The best thing that you can do when it comes to decluttering is just get started. Although it is nice to think through the entire project and to maybe break it down a certain way, I think that this can also be a perfectionist tendency that stops us from getting started. We do a lot of thinking. We're overthinkers. We are a species of overthinkers. And if you have a lot of clutter, you also tend to be an overthinker. So if that resonates with you, let me know. Are you an overthinker? So we tend to be overthinkers. We tend to overthink how to do things. And also we have a little bit of perfectionist tendencies, especially as clutterers. So we like things to be perfect. We want to know the exact right way to do this. There's no right way to declutter, none at all. The best way to declutter is to actually start and keep moving forward. I would recommend that you set a certain amount of time every single day that you are going to work on decluttering. So consistency matters more than anything else. Set a certain amount of time, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Yes, an overthinker. Yep. Set aside a certain amount of time and commit to that amount of time for decluttering every single day. You always want to start with the easiest things. So it's hard to say if going room by room or section by section is going to make the most sense. A lot of times we have commingled collections, and that means a box full of a lot of different things, right? That's not one category in this box. It's many different categories commingled together. When we have commingled collections, that means we have highly emotional items mixed in with less emotional items. And when that happens, it can stop us in our tracks. So we always want to go for the low-hanging fruit, the easiest stuff, commit to a certain amount of time. And it's almost, and I might contradict myself with this answer in the next answer, we'll see. It's almost never a good idea to take out every single thing from a closet or a room and to pile it up on your bed. That's actually another question that we have today. Maybe I'll read that question so I can answer them both at once. Okay, there's another question here. I have a horrible laundry room. I can hardly walk in there. Do I fill my bed with everything and start going through it? So oftentimes we want, the Marie Kondo thing was empty out an entire space onto your bed or onto your floor and work through it. There is value in having a completely empty space because then you can fully deep clean the space and you can only return to that space what is actually staying in that space. However, what so many clients have told me and what I have observed working one-on-one in other people's homes and in my own home is when you pull everything out of a space, you may think the entire project is going to take you 6 hours, but it's really going to take you like 18 hours. It's the rule of 3. It'll be 3 times longer than what you think it's going to be. So big projects tend to take 3 times longer than what we think they're going to be. Little tasks that we've been putting off for a long time tend to take 1/3 the amount of time that we've been anticipating they're going to be. So if you have to make an appointment, you're like, I got to get on the phone. I got to make the call. It's going to take me a half an hour. No, it's going to take 10 minutes or less. But we're thinking about it for days and days and days and days and days and months and months and months and months, right? Those tasks, do those immediately because they take way shorter than you think they're going to. Big projects, we think, okay, it's going to take me a day to pull everything out of this closet, clean the closet, and put everything back. Most likely, it's going to take you 3 days. It's going to take 3 times longer than what you think it's going to take because there's more in the closet than you think. Then you decide you're going to deep clean. Then you have all this stuff to go through. You're having an allergy attack. You have to go pick up your kids. You're getting phone calls. You start scrolling on the internet because making the choices is overwhelming. So if you are going to take everything out of your closet or out of your laundry room or wherever it is and pile it up, do not pile it up on your bed because then you have nowhere to sleep. Or you're going to take everything off of your bed to go to sleep and you're going to wake up to a mess and it's going to feel overwhelming and it's going to be hard to get started. So, should you take everything out of your laundry room to declutter your laundry room by piling on your bed? It's hard to say yes to that one. I would instead, and this goes back to question number one, set aside an hour every day or 20 minutes. Commit to a certain amount of time. And if the laundry room is driving you crazy, it needs to get tackled right now. Do an hour a day on the laundry room. Start with whatever is in front, whatever you can easily grab. Commit to not clutter shuffling. Don't just move stuff from one room to another. Commit to actually decluttering, which means getting rid of the stuff that you are not going to keep. Clutter shuffling is not decluttering. It is also not organizing. It is not anything. It is just moving stuff from one space to another. It's a total waste of time. You have to declutter to get organized. So commit to truly decluttering, removing stuff from your house. If your laundry room is, you can't even walk in there, remove the stuff that does not meet the needs of your life right now from your life. You don't need it. You don't need it in your house. You don't need it taking up space in your mind. And what you really need in your home is a functional space to do laundry because you have to do laundry pretty regularly. We're wearing clothing every day. What you don't need is stuff that is not helping your life right now. We need functional space, not more stuff. So, to answer two questions, I would advise you to just commit to a certain amount of time every day to declutter. Start in an area that is really driving you crazy, or just go for that low hanging fruit, that easy stuff. Do not pull everything out and put it onto your bed because that could make the situation worse. Instead, commit to a certain amount of time every day for that space. Sound good? Thumbs up. Who needed to hear that answer today? All right, let's go dive into the next question. This is a really actually, I like this question. I like all the questions. Can a prepper easily declutter? What essentials what are essential for a prepper and how can one hold containers and remove the other excess? Okay, a prepper. Are you a prepper? In the comments, let me know. Do you resonate with that whole idea of prepping? So a prepper is somebody who is storing items in preparation for a catastrophic event. Um, I am not a prepper, but I do have a homestead and I preserve a tremendous amount of our food. And there's a lot of overlap with homesteading and prepping. So I feel like I live this a little bit because I have the jars, I have the equipment. I just am not using it for like really long-term storage. I'm using it for like the next year. So I have a freeze dryer, I have a dehydrator, I have a pressure canner, I have, a lot of things that preppers typically. I'm also a backpacker, so there's overlap there too. I have water filters, I have MREs, which I'm making, right? So I have a lot of that stuff. And I really struggled for a long time with how to store all of it. It's a lot. It's jars, it's pots and pans, it's big containers. How do you store all of that? And it comes back down to the basic principle, whether you're a prepper, whether you are, eh, really into shoes or really into purses or really into crafts or whatever your hobby is, there tends to be a lot of stuff with it. And at the end of the day, living within your space is the key to saving your sanity. Live within the storage space that you have. When we think about prepping, and this is my personal take on prepping, we truly have no idea what catastrophic event could occur that we cannot anticipate, right? If we can't anticipate what the catastrophic event is going to be, we can't easily plan for it. Um, Most of the time, we do know based on where we live what sort of catastrophic events are likely to occur. Natural disasters. Do I live in an earthquake zone? Do I live in a hurricane zone? Do I live in a flood zone? Do I live in a wildfire zone? With the catastrophic events that are most likely to occur, they're all natural events, right? They're all like environmental things. And with every single one of them, I cannot think of a single catastrophic event most likely to occur based on where you live that will require you to have more stuff and not less stuff. So typically, anybody who has lived through a natural disaster, and please let me know in the comments, have you lived through a natural disaster? What was it? And would having more stuff have actually helped you or hindered you? So, most of the time, when we have these big, catastrophic, most likely to occur events, there are things that if our house gets flooded, the more that's in there, the harder it is to recover it. If we're in a wildfire zone, the more stuff in our house, the more dangerous it is. If hurricanes are common in our area, the more stuff in our house, the more dangerous it is. If earthquakes are common in our area, the more stuff in our house, the more dangerous it is. I really have a hard time thinking about a catastrophic event likely to happen where having more is going to be better than having less. So prepping is preparing for some unknown catastrophic event in the future. And it's really because it's unknown, the tendency is to gather as much as possible. But is that going to hurt you in the event of a true like a more likely emergency? So it's really that balancing act. Prep if prepping is a hobby and it's, something that you enjoy doing, because there is some enjoyment in collecting. That's a very human thing, right? Resource gathering. Just have a defined amount of space and commit to living within that space. All of my prepping stuff is going to fit in this space. I'm going to know what I have, because the other thing with prepping is you wanna make sure that your supplies are fresh, right? You don't, even though you can store food for 35 years, you do have to do some rotation. I think some preppers also prep things like ammunition and all that sort of stuff. You have to know what you have. You have to be able to inventory it and you have to be able to access it. So live within that amount of space. And the same thing goes for crafters or whatever your hobby is. You have to be able to access and use what you have. So you need to live within your space first. So commit to a certain amount of space in your house for the activity. That is all the space that you have. And then maybe challenge yourself to be, how well prepped can you be in 40 square feet of storage space? What would be the most important things that you believe you're going to need? Like, give yourself a different sort of challenge that's not just collecting everything, it's challenging yourself to have the right stuff or the best stuff or whatever. I mean, again, I only am like on the edge of the prepper the prepper world with my sort of crossover hobbies. So, but I know there's like prepper competitions and so challenge yourself within your space to be the best prepper that you can be. And again, we can just trade out that word prepper with crafter, gardener, biker, tennis player, golfer, whatever your hobby is, you could theoretically have so much stuff. So commit to living within a certain amount of space. And then if you go outside of that space, what can you let go of to bring in the new thing? Sound good? Do we have any preppers watching this? Just out of curiosity, am I challenging your belief system right now? I love that we can have like an open discussion with respect to really, truly, honestly, whatever your thing is, I respect that. I really do. I think that you should enjoy that as much as possible. But at some point, that enjoyment becomes less because you run out of space. So that's the fine line to walk there. All right, let's move on to question number 4, actually. I don't understand why I have trouble finishing projects. I go into it full speed, but then when interruptions occur and ranch things happen, I'm outside working a lot. I just can't get back to painting or finishing that room. My bedroom and my office are almost done. All it takes is one thing that needs to be done, like putting together a cabinet to replace an old one, but I stall out. I also love reading new books, but I rarely finish one. I am feeling some procrastination and a lot of overwhelm. What the heck is my problem? I feel like this is pretty common. We start projects, life happens, and then those projects sit. We have unfinished projects. And again, this is in every sort of area. I think that when this happens, the only thing that has ever worked for me is to challenge myself to finish the project. I know that it's sitting there. I know that it's driving me crazy, and I just need to override my own procrastination and overwhelm and commit to finishing it. Some things that help me when I'm in this sort of I want to finish this, but I've lost all motivation. Motivation is fickle. We cannot rely on it. We need to take action. So I set a timer. First of all, I use external accountability. I tell other people, I am going to finish this today, the next hour, the next week, whatever it is. So I rely on external accountability by telling people who are going to hold me accountable. I remove distractions. So I turn off my phone. I turn off, whatever. If it's a TV show, whatever is distracting me, I turn it off. I set a timer and I commit to doing something for that amount of time. Even if it doesn't fully finish the project, I commit to doing it. And even if I don't want to do it, I commit to doing it. That's it. There's no easy answer here. I don't know that not finishing a book is necessarily the same. There's a lot of enjoyment in starting things for sure, but the consequence is lower with books. The consequence is higher with house projects because the house project bothers you every single day that it's not done. So just how long do you want to live with this thing bothering you? Just make a decision one day. Okay, I am done with this unfinished project bothering me. I am going to finish it and I am going to enjoy it. And just maybe have a whole week where you work on your unfinished projects. Um, I think like a book is a little bit more of an escape. So sometimes you can need that escape, but you don't need to finish the book. You just needed the escape. The project, on the other hand, I mean, it's a bigger commitment that requires a full follow through because it will impact your life indefinitely until it gets done. So, and the same thing with craft room clutter is unfinished projects. I think a lot of times crafts are an escape and we just need that little escape. And if you don't finish the project, it's not the end of the world. Just toss it out. Like you got the escape. Maybe that's why you're doing it, not for the end result, but for the relaxation and just the escape from everyday life, the letting your brain settle down and get into a creative flow. That's what you needed was the creative flow, not the end result. But with house projects and things like that, you need the end result like that. You need to finish painting because it's driving you crazy every single day. It's impacting your ability to function in your home. If something is impacting your ability to function in your home, then you need to set that, take the action. But if it's just a book or not just a book, but a book or a craft project or something like that, maybe you just needed the escape, the creative flow, and you can let go of the idea of finishing it. So make an assessment about your unfinished projects. What needs to happen so that you can feel relaxed in your house? And what did you start that you just needed that creative flow and you got it? You can be good with it not being finished. Okay. Next question here. I am wondering about seasonal storage. Here in the Northeast, I also live in the Northeast, I have seasonal cooking and clothing. I am unwilling to get rid of snow boots. I know it is warm, but there is nothing worse than wet and cold feet. Okay, so you never have to get rid of anything that you don't want to get rid of. That is a really key point about decluttering. You can keep the things that are most important to you, but you have to live within the space that you have. So we all have a different amount of space available to us for storage. Just like we all have a different amount of money, we all have a different amount of free time, we all have a different set of obligations in our life. So we have a certain amount of storage space that is unique to us. That's our parameter. And you can keep whatever is most important to you as long as it fits within your storage space. That's life. We live within parameters. You definitely don't need to get rid of your snow boots, but you need to have a spot to store them all year round because you're keeping them indefinitely. So, I personally believe that in the Northeast, or in areas where there's 4 climates, I don't put away my seasonal clothing. Everything stays out all the time. It doesn't actually make sense to me to store seasonal stuff because, like 2 days ago here, it was 85 degrees, and today the high is 55. I really need most of my clothing, the vast majority of it, most of the time. And if I have something that I need to keep for more than, that I need to keep, it needs a home in my house. So snow boots need a home in my house because they live here year round. Putting them away seasonally, where am I going to put them? I mean, you could put them in the attic, but then the attic is not a great spot to store stuff because it gets hot. There could be rodent issues up there. There could be moisture issues. The stuff that you choose to keep to support your life, even if your life has a seasonal nature, needs to fit within your storage space. It's a cold, hard truth. We only have so much space. Once you embrace the amount of space that you have and you truly embrace living within that space, your life becomes so much easier. So just keep in mind like the end goal, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Your life is so much easier when you are living within your space. It is not we tend to think of, I only had more space. I need a bigger house. I need this. I need that. What if you just embraced what the space that you have and lived within that? Shift your mindset. That's the whole like the gratitude thing, and that's the dream, is to be happy with what you have. And you can get there by giving yourself the gift of living within that space. It will massively change your life if you just allow yourself to embrace that parameter, and instead of thinking of it as a negative, think of it as a positive. Okay. Let's go on to all right, I actually kind of just answered this question also. I love how these questions have so much overlap. I have a desire to change my mindset in regards to clutter, but I'm struggling on how to go about it. Any tips on how I can best be on a new way of thinking? I hope that makes sense. Yes. Yeah, totally. Number one, practice gratitude. It sounds so cliche. I know it sounds cliche. I hate things that sound cliche. I hate doing things that feel cliche. But what if it actually works? And it does. Practice gratitude. When we have a lot of clutter and we have to let go of stuff, can we be grateful for what we have? Can we be grateful for the opportunity to make the choice to get rid of stuff? Can we see that as a positive and not a negative? Gratitude is something that has to actually be practiced. It does not come naturally to us because human brains have a negativity bias. So it's a negativity bias means that we think about the worst things, or we remember the bad parts of a situation first. Like we're going towards the negative because that is what has kept us alive, back in the day. If we remember the dangers, the bad things, then when we face them again, we will handle them, we will recognize them for what they are. Negativity bias with our brains is, we apply it to every area of our life because our brains are very primal in a lot of ways. So we have to actually practice focusing on the positive because it's not natural. But the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So spend a minute every day practicing gratitude. That will definitely help shift your mindset. Um, Also, surround yourself with people who think the way that you want to think. Find friends who embrace this sort of live within your space. Let's, experience life instead of experiencing lots of stuff. Like, surround yourself, find those people who will encourage you in the direction that you want to go. Your community can be really, really impactful. And if you need to find a community like that, they exist all over the internet. There is a community for every sort of thing that you can imagine. We have our free Facebook community, It's All Clutter. Definitely a great place to start hanging out if you want to shift your mindset. Listen to influencers who are in the direction that you want to move, right? So instead of being influenced to buy stuff and to have more, 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 find influencers who encourage you to use what you have and embrace a more minimalistic mindset or uninfluence you. There's a thing that's like there's influencers and there's uninfluencers. Find those uninfluencers. Those are the ones who are encouraging you not to buy stuff. Um, so just surround yourself as much as you possibly can with the mindset that you hope to shift to, and naturally your thinking will start to shift. So that can be really helpful, and it's totally possible to change the way you think about things. It's awesome. We have a pliable brain. We can learn to think differently. It's a growth mindset. That is the most incredible thing ever. Last question here, and then we will wrap up. What and where is the best place to start when your floor and surfaces are covered with clutter? This is really, truly a problem when you have a lot of stuff and you have no area to start sorting things. In that case, I would encourage you to create one small flat surface that is clear, that can be your sorting zone. So you have one space, can you get your counter, a little section of it clear? Can you get a little section of your table clear? Can you get a little section of a guest room bed clear? Commit to keeping it clear. So use that as your sorting zone. If you need to, as you start to go through stuff, grab a box, bring it to the clear area. You can open it up, spread it out, see what's staying, see what's going. The stuff that's going, remove it from your house immediately. And this is really key. When you're decluttering, you have to actually remove the stuff from your house. If you just say it's going and you don't actually remove it from your house and from your car, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So actually get it out of your house. The stuff that is staying, get it as close to where you're going to store it when you have the space as possible. So if it's bathroom stuff, get it as close to the cabinet in the bathroom as you can. But every night, make sure that that clear area is clear so that tomorrow you can start again. Put another box there tomorrow, go through it. It's a long process, but there is a path forward. And at the same time, ruthlessly commit to not letting stuff come into your house. If your house is full and you don't have a single surface space to start working on, do not bring more stuff into your house because that is going to be standing in your own way. It is so hard to declutter when you're adding clutter to the mix. So do not bring anything else in. Stop the flow in. Commit to stopping the flow in and increasing the flow out. And eventually you will have a lot more space. That's the math equation. It will work. It's not going to happen overnight. Just create that one clear space. And then every single day, make sure it remains a clear space. Process your clutter, get it out. Don't let stuff come in. You can do this. All right. We've gone for a full half an hour. We have tons of people watching live. This is awesome. Thank you so much for being here, so much for your support. If this was helpful, the best thing that you can do for our small business is to like, comment, share, follow, subscribe. All of that makes a huge, huge difference to an online business. So thank you in advance for commenting, sharing, subscribing, whatever. Press every button you can. I really appreciate your support. Seriously, thank you for being here. There is hope. Do not lose hope. There is hope. There is a path forward, and we are here to hold your hand and help you every single step of the way here at Clutter Boss. Thank you for being a part of our community. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye for now.